The world didn't simply scroll that morning, it froze. For a brief, breathless moment, the entire internet seemed to stop spinning. Notifications exploded, servers lagged, and timelines blurred into one collective gasp. Yoona is getting married. Those 5 words detonated across social media like a thunderclap. On X, formerly Twitter, her name surged to the top of worldwide trends within 6 minutes. On Instagram, her latest post, a soft, pale image of dawnlight falling across a pair of intertwined hands, broke 1 million likes before anyone even read the caption. In Seoul, screens lit up in every cafe, subway station, and office. Fans cried, screamed, refreshed their phones, disbelieved what they saw. She's getting married? To who? Echoed through online forums, echoing through every digital corridor of the K-pop universe. It wasn't just another celebrity announcement, it was Yoona, the girl who had grown up before the eyes of a nation. The face of purity, grace, discipline, the unshakable pillar of the Hallyu wave. She had spent nearly 2 decades living under a light so bright that it burned, and yet, she had never once slipped. Not once. To imagine that someone like her could fall in love, secretly, passionately, and choose marriage without the world knowing, it felt impossible. And that impossibility was precisely what sent fans spiraling into obsession. Her statement appeared first on her official fan cafe at 10:03 a.m. The message was brief, handwritten, photographed on delicate cream stationery. The ink bled slightly where she must have pressed too hard with emotion. There is someone who has walked beside me quietly for many years, a person who has seen me not as Yoona the artist, but as the person I truly am. Below, her signature curved softly, steady but trembling. It wasn't a press release from her company, it was her. Within minutes, SM Entertainment released their own follow-up. Yoona will be marrying a non-disclosed individual. The ceremony will be held privately, with close friends and family. We ask for understanding and respect. Those words only deepened the chaos. Non-disclosed? Private? For Yoona, whose every step had been followed by cameras since she was 16. This secrecy felt both sacred and scandalous. Every fan, reporter, and gossip columnist in Korea began dissecting each syllable. Who was he? An actor? A businessman? Someone from outside the industry? The photo accompanying her letter was maddeningly subtle, a table, a white mug, and the shadow of 2 figures across a soft morning light. His silhouette was barely visible, yet fans swore they recognized something about the angle of his jaw. The way his hand rested near hers, relaxed, confident, familiar. Threads of speculation multiplied faster than any official could manage. One user on DC Inside posted side-by-side comparisons of Yoona's photo and a behind-the-scenes shot from a drama set in 2023. The hand, they claimed, belonged to someone whose initials matched LJ. Within an hour, that post had 2.5 million views. Dispatch reporters gathered outside SM's headquarters before noon, hoping for a quote, a glimpse, anything. But Yoona didn't appear. Instead, a car, windows tinted, rolled past the crowd, vanishing into the underground parking lot. Some swore they caught sight of her hair, tied back neatly. Others insisted they saw a second figure inside the car, wearing a dark cap. The speculation only deepened. Was it him? Was it the man everyone was whispering about? It was then that fans began to trace the timeline backward. 2021, the MBC Gyeodaejeon. Yoona had co-hosted the event as always, but that year, something felt different. During the finale stage, when one particular male performer joined her on stage, cameras caught a fleeting moment, a glance. Too natural, too warm. It was barely half a second. Yet fans captured it, froze it, studied it frame by frame. Look at their eyes, one comment said. That's not acting. The rumor simmered quietly for years, dismissed as wishful thinking. Until now. Between 2020 and 2023, their names had crossed paths far too many times to ignore. They attended the same award shows, guested on similar variety programs, and shared brand endorsements. Their agencies always brushed it off as coincidence, professional overlap. But fans remember everything. They remembered that one particular night in 2022, after the King the Land press event. A staff member had accidentally tagged both of them in the same dinner photo before quickly deleting it. It was up for only 3 minutes, but screenshots live forever. One insider, who had worked on a major broadcast with Yoona last year, told reporters under anonymity, she always left the set quietly, no entourage. Just her manager. But sometimes there'd be another car waiting, not flashy, but familiar. You could tell it wasn't a stranger. The source smiled when asked if it could have been an actor. Let's just say, someone who knows what it's like to stand under the same kind of light. By late afternoon, the mystery had become a national spectacle. Television anchors read the announcement with trembling voices. News tickers flashed Yoona's Groom unknown, industry in shock, on YouTube. Reaction videos flooded the algorithm, stylists speculating, fans crying. Others trying to decode the phrase "walked beside me quietly." Across Korea, one name began to surface again and again, whispered. Half believed, half denied. Junho. The name itself felt like a confession. The two had starred together in King the Land, a romantic comedy that blurred fiction and reality too convincingly. Their chemistry had been electric, every look, every laugh scripted yet real. When the drama ended, fans begged for them to date in real life. Both smiled coyly in interviews, denying nothing but confirming everything. Junho once told a journalist, "Acting with her felt peaceful. Like we didn't have to try." Yoona's reply during another interview echoed eerily, "Sometimes acting feels like remembering." Now, looking back, those words cut differently. By evening, international outlets like Variety and BBC Asia picked up the story. The headlines read, "K-pop icon Yoona announces marriage. Fans theorize co-star connection." SM Entertainment stayed silent. JIP Entertainment, Junho's agency, said nothing at all. Silence, in this business, is its own kind of confirmation. Insiders whispered that the announcement had been timed carefully, after both had wrapped major projects. Before awards season. They planned this for months, one stylist said. They wanted to tell the world on their own terms, another added. He was there when she wrote that letter. Cameras caught Yoona leaving a small restaurant in Cheongdam-dong. Her face hidden beneath a white mask. A man walked beside her, tall, dressed in black. Cap pulled low. The footage was grainy. But his posture, his walk, his quiet manner, everything about him screamed familiarity. Dispatch released a clip at 11:47 p.m. with a single caption, "The night after the announcement." It took less than 10 minutes for Yoona Junho to trend #1 in over 15 countries. Still, nothing was confirmed. Nothing needed to be. The evidence wasn't in words or statements, it was in the way their stories had overlapped for years, weaving quietly through a decade of fame. The world wanted proof. But sometimes, proof isn't a photograph. It's a silence that feels too deliberate. A glance that lasts a little too long. A message written in a trembling hand that says everything without saying anything. As midnight struck, Seoul felt strangely still. Rain began to fall, soft, cinematic. Almost as if the city itself had been holding its breath all day. Somewhere, behind the blackout windows of a quiet apartment, people who had carried their secret for years might have finally exhaled. And as fans across the world stayed awake, screens glowing in the dark, one question echoed louder than all the noise: what if it's really him? The morning after the storm was deceptively calm. Woke under a thin veil of mist, as if the city itself was still recovering from the tremors of the previous day. But online, the aftershocks were relentless. Screens flickered. Feeds refreshed, hearts raced. Everyone was waiting, for confirmation, for denial, for a name. Instead, there was only silence. A silence heavy enough to make the world lean closer. On Naver's top search bar, words pulsed side by side like twin constellations, Yoona and Junho. Coincidence, perhaps. Algorithms didn't believe in coincidences anymore. The internet's detectives had already begun their work, connecting dots, matching timestamps, unearthing details the human eye wasn't supposed to catch. They called it Project Luminous. A sprawling fan-led investigation built not from gossip but devotion. Every photo, every quote, every movement, analyzed, archived, debated. A fan page posted a discovery that sent shockwaves through the fandom: a silver bracelet, barely visible in one of Yoona's behind-the-scenes photos, identical to the one Junho had worn during a fan meeting in Osaka months earlier. Another pointed out how, in recent interviews, both had used eerily similar phrases about learning to trust life more and finding peace in unexpected places. It was as if their words had been written in parallel, speaking through coded language. Then came the video. A grainy clip, allegedly from a staff member on a commercial shoot in Jeju. It showed Yoona sitting under a parasol between takes, laughing softly. Her eyes turned to someone off camera. The person never appeared in the frame. But a man's voice, calm, warm, teasing, could be heard saying, "Always smile before the director says action." Fans didn't need to see the face. They recognized the voice instantly. It went viral within an hour, reaching 1 million views before being deleted. But the internet never forgets. People whispered, "It has to be him." For those who had followed both their careers, the signs had always been there, hiding in plain sight. During the filming of King the Land, Yoona had once shared a photo of the sunset over the Han River, captioned, "Some moments feel eternal." Hours later, Junho posted an almost identical photo from a different angle, with a caption, "And yet they fade." Fans brushed it off as coincidence back then, but now, it felt like a dialogue between two souls speaking across the void. The industry, however, wasn't as romantic. Inside entertainment offices across Gangnam, chaos reigned. Executives argued in closed-door meetings, how to control a story that refused to be contained. "We can confirm," one manager reportedly said. "But if we deny, and it's true, we'll lose the public's trust forever." The stakes were monumental. Two of the industry's brightest stars, bound by love and secrecy, could either become a symbol of freedom, or the scandal of the decade. In a quiet cafe near Apgujeong, a journalist met with a stylist who had worked with both Yoona and Junho during the past 2 years. She stirred her coffee slowly before whispering, "Always careful. But love has a scent. You can't hide it." She described how Junho once waited an extra hour on set after his scene wrapped, pretending to check his phone until Yoona finished hers. It came out. He just looked up and smiled. That was it. No words, no gestures. Just that look. Like home. News outlets across Asia fought for exclusives. Match released new photos, nothing explicit. Just patterns, matching coats in different cities. Lapping schedules. Flights taken a day apart to the same destination. Each fragment harmless on its own. But together they painted a mosaic of undeniable truth. Still, neither SM nor Jeep uttered a single word. Silence had become a fortress. Then, out of nowhere, a message appeared on Junho's official fan cafe. It wasn't signed, but it was unmistakably his tone. "Thank you for always supporting me. Even when I can't explain everything. I'm grateful for those who see me as I am." The words were ordinary, and yet, to those who had waited years for a hint, they were seismic. The post trended under the title "He Finally Spoke." Night, Seoul's sky glowed with a strange energy. Media frenzy had turned the city into a stage. Outside SM's headquarters, reporters camped on sidewalks, their cameras aimed at shadows. Fans stood with umbrellas in the rain, some holding flowers, others banners that read, "If it's love, we'll protect it." It had shifted. What began as shock was evolving into something softer, an understanding that even idols, even legends, were allowed to be human. But inside, behind the drawn curtains and glass walls, something else was unfolding. To an insider who spoke under anonymity, the decision to go public wasn't spontaneous. It had been planned, not by the agencies. Yoona herself. She wanted to speak before someone else did. She didn't want her love to be a headline written by others. The insider paused before adding, and he agreed. He told her, "If the world must know, let it be from you, not me." It was a line that felt ripped from a screenplay, yet too raw to be fiction. In the following days, the investigation turned poetic. Fans began collecting moments of proof, an old concert clip where Junho looked toward the camera during a lyric that said, "Even if the world doesn't see, I'll see you." An awards show where Yoona smiled during his performance. Her expression unreadable yet filled with something beyond admiration. They had always been professionals, but love, seen, cannot be unseen. Cultural critics joined the conversation, calling the entire phenomenon a modern fairy tale rewritten by reality. One columnist wrote, "They blurred the boundary between drama and life, until we could no longer tell which was which." Another observed, "For once, Korea isn't scandalized by love. We're enchanted by it." Then, an unexpected twist. A leaked recording from a staff wrap party surfaced, muffled voices, laughter, and a familiar tone saying softly, "You did well today." Some claimed it was Junho comforting Yoona after a difficult shoot. Others insisted it was doctored. But by then, truth and imagination had merged so completely that it no longer mattered. Mattered was that people believed. And belief, once ignited, is unstoppable. The press began to reframe the story, from secret lovers to symbols of courage. Talk shows debated what this meant for the future of idol culture. Could love exist in an industry built on perfection? Could vulnerability coexist with fame? Yoona, once the nation's little sister, had shattered the image the world imposed upon her, not with rebellion, but with honesty. Her choice to announce her marriage, without revealing his name, was a declaration. She was more than an icon. She was a woman in love. Weeks after the announcement, she appeared publicly for the first time, stepping out of a van at Incheon Airport. Her hair was tied simply, both long and beige. Reporters shouted questions, flashes burst like lightning. She smiled, calm, graceful, unshaken. "How do you feel?" someone yelled. She paused, turned slightly, and said only, "At peace." Those two words rippled across headlines for days. That night, as Seoul's lights dimmed, another photo surfaced on anonymous forums, a quiet restaurant corner. Candlelight flickering. Two hands reaching across the table. One wearing the same silver bracelet. No faces. No context, just warmth. The caption read, "When love is real, it doesn't need to hide." By then, the public had already made up its mind. They didn't need confirmation anymore. In a way, the mystery had made it more beautiful, a love story that existed somewhere between what was seen and what was felt. And as days passed, frenzy softened into reverence. People began calling it the untold romance. The one that reminded them that even in a world of cameras and contracts, genuine connection could still survive. The year's end, during the Seoul Arts Awards, Junho won Best Actor. He took the stage in a sleek black suit, eyes steady under the spotlight. His acceptance speech was short, unadorned. "Acting," he said, "is about truth, the kind you can't fake, even if you try." He smiled faintly then, and for a split second, his gaze drifted toward the audience where Yoona sat, applauding quietly. Cameras caught it, and the moment was replayed millions of times. No words were spoken, yet the entire nation understood. That night, a single post appeared on Yoona's Instagram, a white heart emoji and a line from one of their drama scripts. "Some stories never end, they just become real," within minutes. The post amassed millions of likes. Fans flooded the comments with tears, emojis, blessings. The fairy tale that had begun as rumor had become legend. In the weeks that followed, both continued their work, filming, performing, smiling as if nothing had changed. Everything had. For the first time in a long time, they seemed lighter, freer, as though the invisible chains of secrecy had finally fallen away. The world had demanded answers. Instead, they gave it poetry. Love, it turned out, didn't need confirmation, only courage. And so, the story of Yoona and the man once whispered in shadows became more than a headline. It became a quiet revolution, proof that even under the harshest lights, two people could still find a way to simply be. 'Cause sometimes, the bravest thing you can do isn't to hide love. It's to let the world see it and keep holding on anyway.